Welcome to the Letcher County Extension Show. I'm your host, Shad Baker, and we are talking today about a program that's kind of near and dear to me. I think we decided to call it Get Out, Stay Out, and it's home fire safety. And the presenter today is Red Caldwell. I called him the other name, from the Whitesburg Fire Department. And he's going to be doing the bulk of the talking. But I did want to share a little bit about why we're doing this and why this particular time of the year is important. I don't know how many of you might remember, but a couple of years ago I lost my mother-in-law and my brother-in-law to a house fire. And it was a time of the year when people start using space heaters, and I don't think they ever formally decided what caused it. The insurance inspector thought that it was an exhaust fan. The state fire marshal thought that it was a space heater. And I tend to think that it was the space heater because it was the first cold night of the year. And there were little plug-in heaters that they found in the living room, and the family felt like they didn't really use those, but you don't really know what happened for sure. But some of the things that I know Red will be covering have to do with where you place these things. And a lot of times if you're using these heaters and you put them somewhere near where there are other combustible things. So if they're sitting on carpet, their whole living room, they had lots of couches, carpet, drapes, they had boxes of things sitting in there, and so there was a lot of fuel. And if you have a little fire start and you've got access to all that fuel, it doesn't take very long for it to get up really big, really fast. And that happened to be the main door in and out of the house. And Red, I hope I don't get over on anything you're going to talk about, but we were kind of told that people tend to go out the door that they're used to coming and going, even if they've got another way in and out. And so that fire started between where they were and where the main entrance door was. And so are you going to be talking about fire plans too? Escape plans, or kinda? Okay, well I'll hit on that then. If you don't do it already, you need to have an escape plan to your house, and everybody in the house needs to know what that plan is from each bedroom and from each room in the house. So don't rely on just one door. If there's a window that opens up to the carport or to the deck or something, that needs to be an alternate escape way. And that needs to be practiced twice a year, especially if you've got little kids still living at home, or if you've got family that stays with you. They need to know this is where you go to get out, and this is where we're going to meet you at. When you get out, everybody needs to have a place to arrange to meet, and that way you know if there's somebody still in. One of the things that we're speaking from is from ready.gov's website. So they've got one on home fires on ready.gov, and we had several different ones. We've got handouts from West Virginia's Extension, and we've got one from the National Safety Council, but this one from ready.gov covered everything those covered and then some. So, but it talks about the importance of, if you get out and there's still somebody else in the house, I know how hard what I'm saying to you is. If you get out, stay out. Do not go back in. If you know where that person is, I think you can go to the window and maybe if it's upstairs or something, get a ladder, bust out a window or something to get to them, but do not go back in that house. I think there's a lot of people that dies going back in to try to help somebody else, and then everybody dies. And I just want to make sure that we covered that, having the escape plan and having working smoke detectors and carbon monoxide detectors. I know that in the situation that happened with us, the dad told us that they had not changed the batteries and that they knew they didn't work, and so make sure that you've checked those batteries. They need to be checked twice a year. I think they usually recommend that you check them when you change the clocks because that's a good time to remember to do it. If you've got the 10-year, some of the newer ones have the 10-year batteries in them. Those are great, but you need to test them. Go push the button and make sure that the thing's still alarming. So that's really important. And then the last thing I want to speak on was just something else. This fire with my wife's family was the second fire in our family. Years ago, when my dad was just a little boy, they told that there was they were cooking bacon, and somebody, it was one of the kids, forgot and left the room with the bacon on the stove, and it caught fire and burnt the house down. And so it's really important that if you've got something on the stove, that you do not leave the room to go do anything else. Don't go sit down and watch TV. Don't go use the bathroom. If you're going to do those things, turn it off. Pull it off the burner, and then go back in. But don't leave something on the stove unattended. And with that, I'm going to introduce Red. He comes from the Whitesburg Fire Department, and he is the knowledgeable one here. So, Red, I'm going to mic you up and let you share with us whatever you want to share. You can stick that in your pocket.
Just touching base on a little bit of what Shad has went over already. I got this report from safetyandhealthmagazine.com. It's nearly 60% of home fire deaths involve missing or malfunctioning smoke alarms. Smoke alarms that are missing or not working play a vital role in nearly 3 out of 5 home fires related deaths. According to the National Fire Protection Association report, is that the research analyzed more than 1.7 million house fires reported to the U.S. fire departments from 2012 to 2016. Most of the reports came from U.S. fire administrations. The National Fire Incident Reporting System and the NFPA's annual survey of fire department experiences, smoke alarms were absent in 40% of home fires, resulting in death. And alarms failed to operate in 17% of these incidents. The risk of dying in a home fire is 54% lower where working smoke alarms were present. Victims who die in homes with working alarms are more likely to have a disability or were in the area of the origin of the fire. So meaning in the area of the origin of the fire where the fire started, or they had a disability, couldn't physically get themselves out in some cases. In cases that involve malfunctioning alarms, 43% had missing or disconnected batteries. So as that thing starts chirping, telling you that the battery is low, we tend to just go remove the battery and just leave it unattended. So
mine's still here because it's hooked up to electricity.
To electricity. So some of them
take the battery out.
So some of them in that case would insinuate like the alarm is bad, that needs to be replaced because it's got power, so it shouldn't be telling you it's a battery alert. Seeing that the alarm could be bad or malfunctioning, so you need to get it replaced. So in the cases of disconnected batteries or dead batteries, cause 25% of alarm failures, obviously because they don't have no batteries. Since 2000, at least 95% of surveyed homeowners reported having at least one smoke alarm. In 1977, it was 22%. So we've come along a great deal from 1977 to 2000 that, we've raised a lot of percentage and talked with people and making them aware that this does help in having alarms in in your home, even if it's just one, it helps. What we recommend is one in each bedroom of the house, also one in like a common room, living area. We don't want one in the kitchen because of all the heat, smoke from cooking, but we want it just outside the kitchen, like in a dining room area that's close to the kitchen. And like Shad mentioned about having the 2 ways out, you know, we want to keep practicing those to make sure that we know which way we're going to go, but not necessarily will that happen in case of fire. If the fire happens in one of those areas, it really puts you in like a panic of, well, that was my way out. Like he said, the normal flow of in and out was blocked. Now what do? Have that second one that in case that main is blocked, that you can go a different route. Maybe it's a secondary door through a garage, or through a back door outside the back way, or through a bedroom window, anything, so that you have that second way out and you don't have to use that vital common way in and out that you would always use. So another thing that we're going to share today is I got from firefightergarage.com. It's cause of house fires, and I'll share with you the top 10 of causes of house fires, and number one being cooking accidents. Shad mentioned about cooking. You know, if you leave the stove, always turn it off to go to the restroom, go check your laundry, anything that you might do while you're cooking, because your food takes a little bit. Just turn it off if you're going to step away. If not, stay with it all the time. So cooking accidents, on the average home fires a year, that takes up 173,200 accidents of fire. The heater fire is the second most leading cause of house fires, and that brings in at 52,050 heater-related fires. You know, Shad mentioned heaters. So if you're going to use like any type of ceramic heater, propane heater, them kind of heating sources, we recommend that they be on like a hard surface, not carpet, not around like draperies or curtains, so that stuff doesn't overheat and cause a fire. Number 3 is the intentionally lit fires, which could be as far as arson or just someone maybe burning trash near the home and it actually catch the house on fire from just being overheated being too close to the fire. So intentionally lit comes in at 31,305 fires on average every year. Fourth leading cause of house fires is cigarettes. Any of you guys might smoke. You know, cigarettes nowadays are better than they were because they do go out. If you don't puff on them, whatever, seldom times they'll burn out pretty quick. But cigarette fires come in at 18,100 per year. So I mean, all these are starting to come down, you know, as the top 10, but it still plays a vital role in causing your house fires. So number 5 leading is washing machines and clothes dryers. You always have washing machines, the motors on them might burn up or something, cause a fire, short in the plug-in. Clothes dryers, you got lint buildup. If you don't get those cleaned out, you know, lint builds up in there. Maybe it get overheated and cause a lint fire, and then that contributes to causing your house to catch on fire. So washing machine and clothes dryer fires come in at 15,970 fires per year. 6 leading cause of house fires. Number 6 is flammable chemicals. Everybody uses household cleaners. So on the household cleaners, some may not mix with others. So if you have like Clorox cleanup or some kind of Comet or something like that, they may make a chemical reaction and get overheated and catch something on fire that's next to it, or maybe like a cloth or something that you're using. When you mix 2 chemicals together, that would cause it to overheat and cause it to actually catch that cloth on fire. So pay attention to your recommendations on using and what using, like on Clorox or any type of chemical, so you don't have a chemical reaction.
Linseed oil, they've always said.
Linseed oil linseed oil and cloth or cotton creates that heat source, and then that would like fall through with actually overheating that cloth. It could. So yeah, any like the chemicals like that, you want to make sure that you don't mix with other chemicals. Just try to stay with one use for that one chemical and not mix them. 7th leading cause of house fires is barbecue grills. All of us like to grill on our deck or on our porch, right up real close to our house. You know, right next to our back door, so we go in the back door of the kitchen, you know, to get what stuff we need to cook with. So barbecue grill fires lead to 8,700 fires a year in the nation. This is all nationwide. So 8,700 of those are just people cooking dinner out on the barbecue grill, and something just overheats, or you might vinyl siding or wood siding just gets too hot, or grease on it, catches your deck on fire, then leading to your house to be burnt. The 8th leading cause of house fires is candles. We all seldom like to burn candles in our homes to smell the smells of each season and all, you know. So we're gonna burn candles. Always assure, if you're going to walk out of the room with that candle, be sure to put that candle out. You know, just cap it off, put it out, then you can relight it when you come back in there and you're going to sit around all day. You can relight that candle, but never leave a candle unattended, obviously. But candle fires lead to 8,200 fires a year. Another leading cause is number 9. Number 9 in leading the top 10 is overloaded power supplies, power boards, what they're calling it here. So a power board is like a power strip. You have like 6 plugs in one. So what that does is you plug a lot of stuff in that one, it's overpowering that. Too much power going through it, it overheats it. Obviously may ignite something. If it's the carpet, maybe the curtain, something whatever close to it. So with that, you know, overloading the power boards contributes to 5,300 fires a year.
My mother-in-law, she had that problem this week.
Yeah.
She had put her on the microwave, put it on one at a time.
Yeah. And that's real common in the older houses. All the older houses back in the early 60s, maybe 70s, when those houses were built, there was wasn't so many electrical codes, and you didn't have very many electrical outlets in each room. So if you only have one electric outlet on one wall, you know, people plug extension cords and go the length of that wall to plug more things in, so it overheats that. So nowadays you got like a plug-in every 4 or 5 feet. Numerous in like one bedroom may have 10 plug-ins in it. 60s, 70s they only have one on one wall in a bedroom, living room, different. So nowadays the new electrical codes now have them more circuits in there, so you don't overload just one particular circuit. So it helps with that. And the last I'll mention is the 10th leading cause of house fires is power tools. The power tools result of 2,000 house fires a year, being like any kind of power tool. You got power drills, saws, any stuff like that laying around. So any of them power tools just maybe still plugged up, they may overheat, they may short out, you know, while they're just sitting. I mean, you don't have to be actually actively using them for them to short out inside that gear or that motor where that power tool gets its power into it at. That could overload.
To unplug things if you're not using them.
Right, yeah, it's easy to unplug them. You can always plug them back up, but we all take shortcuts. I mean, that's just common. We take a shortcut because I'm going to use it here in 10 minutes, so I'm not going to unplug it. But it's always a contributing factor in everything that you could do if you can just minimize taking stuff out of the equation of that, because it would always just any little thing you wouldn't think about would help, you know, but you just don't think about it. But just like a candle, you leave a candles are in a glass jar. Well, those glass jars can get hot. then they bust, and then the flame gets out on the wood or something it's sitting on, causes a fire. So just touch back on that, on those smoke alarms. You know, nearly 60% of home fire deaths is smoke alarms. Just always check those smoke alarms. You know, make sure you got them in locations that you need them, bedrooms and all. Make sure the batteries are good. If they've got, like she mentioned, power backup, if they're still chirping, probably an issue. Be sure to check those.
Put them smoke detectors up high where the smoke goes.
They do. We always recommend that they're put on either a wall above a door, but not necessarily. I mean, you can put them on the ceiling. Ceiling is normally where we put them at. Some people tend to put them on the wall above a doorway. So the way smoke travels, it comes across the ceiling, and then like if in a bedroom, the smoke would dip down into the doorway and come up the wall and then back across the ceiling. So when it does that, it comes in on the wall first above the door. That's the opening. And then that activates and then goes on up on the wall and then back across the ceiling. So that could save you some time if it's on the wall above the doorway opening, or if not, you know, center of the room, away from a fan, any kind of ceiling fans you may have that would move the air away. Because some people, you know, they use fans like to sleep or just move air in the house and inside the home. So if you have a fan on, you don't want that, you know, it could blow the smoke away from the smoke alarm and it not activate and actually wake you up to be able to get you out early enough that you don't get down on smoke. So yeah,
what about the carbon monoxide detectors? Is it the same or is it different?
Carbon monoxide is on the up higher because that carbon monoxide is going to float up and come down there. So most people like to put it on the floor, but think about it, on the floor of your home, carbon monoxide don't sink in a warm atmosphere. It would rise up, but it's a little bit heavier, but it still would rise up and get in there. So most people put them down low, and it takes too much of that carbon dioxide to get down to where it's at. I would say I won't put mine up here, because if I get here and I can get down and get out of it, I'm more likely to get out of it versus it getting all the way to the floor of my home, and then it's a silent killer because you can't smell it, you can't see it, so carbon dioxide silent. So if you got it on the floor of your home, carbon dioxide comes down off the ceiling down to your bed level, lights out. Your carbon dioxide's way down here. So it didn't tell you. It wasn't going off. Carbon dioxide didn't make it down there. So it didn't alert you to get you up and get out. So that's why I try to put mine more higher and recommend that they're higher. So once you get down to your head level, you got time, you can get out of there and get to some fresher air so that you're not getting down on carbon dioxide.
Can't you buy those now? They're combos?
You can. Yep.
I thought they were.
Yeah, they
Get them if they didn't come in.
yeah, you can get them combination.
I thought I'd seen that.
But if you don't have them or can't get them in the area, we always just recommend just grab one of each. You know, they're not real costly. I mean, they're real cost efficient to grab them up and battery operated. So always remember to check those as well, especially if you got gas appliances. You got like propane heat or natural heat or kerosene, just any kind of type that might put off some carbon monoxide. You know, be sure to check those also. But Shad, that's all I've got.
We appreciate you. Take some mic from you. You do a great job. I had a few more things I wanted to share, and it has to do with that get out, stay out. My brother-in-law, when this happened, we think he was up trying to fight it because when they found him, he was in the kitchen. So he was not in bed. And the whole idea behind that, the fire marshal told us that young men tend to want to fight it. So they tend to be the ones most likely to die in a house fire because they think their job is to try to put it out and to save the family's house. And so this is why we went with that whole get out, stay out thing, is that nothing in that house is worth your life. And I know Wanda's lost a house, and you are the most valuable thing you've got, you and your family members. And so if a fire starts, get out of the house, go to a neighbor's house and dial 911 from their house. Don't try to stay and fight it unless it's really small. I think the little handouts that we had said that it needs to be early on if you're going to use that. It also went into the fire extinguishers, and that you pull the pin and you kind of aim at the base of it and make a sweeping pattern with the fire extinguisher, and you need to keep one of those in your kitchen. So it's the opposite of the smoke detector, that you want to keep away from the smoke of the kitchen. Fire extinguisher, that's the number one place you need to have one. And if you don't have one, you need to get one. They don't cost that much.
I've got one in my kitchen, under my sink, and I've got one in the laundry room, a big one.
That's good. Those are all the places they're most likely to start. And going back to the smoke detectors, there needs to be one on every level of your house. So like my house, we've got a basement, and I've got a wood stove in the basement, and we've got our dryer is in the basement, and that's where the breaker box is, all those things. You don't want the fire to get started somewhere that you're not there to see it and get big before you ever know that it's there. So if you've got a smoke detector in every level of your house, or there needs to be at least one in each level, plus the bedrooms. So I know a lot of people that say attic, but now I've also had them say that the heat of the attic messes them up.
It does in the attic, and
you'll get false alarms, and then people start to ignore the false alarm. So
another recommendation we have on the fire extinguishers, we recommend you have one in your bedroom, because people wouldn't think like, well, it's in the kitchen, that's where you're at. But if you're in the bedroom, you're asleep and you wake up to a fire, how are you going to get to your kitchen if that's what's burning? How are you going to get to your laundry room if that's what's burning to get to that fire extinguisher?
They're in my bedroom.
So it's good practice to have one in your bedroom.
Yeah.
So when the fire breaks out and you come in your bedroom, you've got something to fight that fire with to make your way out of the house. If you don't go out the bedroom window, you can make your way out of the house like that.
As far as that making your way out too, we didn't really go into this, but the publication that we had said that it can be 100 degrees down here and 600 degrees at head height if there's a fire going. So that's the importance of getting down low. Don't assume that if there's a fire in your house that you're going to be able to just walk out. They recommend that you get down low and stay low until you get out. So checking doorknobs to make sure if they're hot or not, sleeping with your door closed to your bedroom so that it doesn't come in there until the last, you've got an opportunity to get out another way. But checking the doorknobs, and then if you do come out, stay down low below the smoke. If you get all that smoke and those fumes in your eyes and in your lungs, that's it. That was another thing they told us, is it only takes 1 or 2 breaths of that and you're not getting out. So you really need to avoid inhaling any of that. I wanted to extend a thanks to Kentucky Farm Bureau. They are the ones that donated some things that we're going to give away today. We got some fire extinguishers and some smoke detectors and carbon monoxide detectors. And if you don't have any at home, you need to make it a point to do that. And I would encourage you to do this. When we originally scheduled this, I wanted to do it before Thanksgiving. And the reason was everybody's cooking, and they tend to put the turkey on and leave the room because it's on for hours. And I thought that would be a good time to do it. If you don't have those detectors, you need to get them before you cook this Thanksgiving. But I think next year when we do this, we're going to try to do it every year. We're going to do it earlier. And the reason for it is almost every house fire that I know of here lately has been in early November or late October. And so we've already had one in Letcher County, I think, this month. And I think, if I'm remembering right, we lost somebody. Yeah, across the mountain at Partridge. So, you know, this was personal to me anyway. But when we heard of this most recent one, you know, it makes it raw again. You don't want to hear of one more house fire that somebody died. It's just, it's bad. So make sure you've got those detectors, make sure you're checking those batteries, make sure you have a plan for how to get out of your house, and be safe. And that's all we've got. We thank you for tuning in with us today. And if you got any questions, or if you're interested in getting a copy of the handout, we'd be glad to mail it to you. You can call us at the office at 606-633-2362, and have a very happy and safe Thanksgiving.